Approximately 20% of the population are born highly sensitive. The physiological differences are deeply rooted in their nervous system. Due to this, they react differently to environmental stimuli, to non-HSPs. This is perfectly a normal healthy trait, equally dispersed among both genders. It is innate. So it cannot be fixed or cured. And it is not the same as just being sensitive, or brought on by trauma, or through life events, where one can become hypervigilant, observant, or become reactive to their environment. How do you really know if you are a highly sensitive person? According to Dr. Elaine Aron, there are 4 facets of the highly sensitive trait, which she calls under the acronym DOES. Let's take a closer look at what these 4 traits are. The first aspect, D, which stands for depth of processing. This is the most foundation and the key trait of high sensitivity. HSPs are often powerful processors. They absorb and digest sensory and emotive information at high speed, with much more depth, intensity and complexity, compared to the non-HSP. They then relate it and compare it to their past experiences, to check for patterns and flaws. They thoroughly think through all aspects of a subject carefully, especially over a decision they must make. They often have layers of thoughts all happening at once, which leads to slower decision-making. This is because they are not just thinking on the surface level. There is a need in them to seek, organize, compartmentalize and file away thoughts in their mind, in order to feel at ease and content. This could be something as simple as choosing a meal from a menu, or to their thoughts on the meaning and purpose of their life. They look deeper and beyond to get their own truth. In fact, some HSPs become mini experts and knowledgeable on various topics. They have this enormous amount of thinking energy, where they are able to contemplate for hours, and self-reflect, which often make them insightful and intuitive. Repetitive thoughts of what happened in the past, what was said, how you could have done things differently, and continuously thinking and obsessing over the same thing, is common with HSPs. All this deeper processing of information leads us to the next trait, which is overstimulation. This aspect of the trait can be quite frustrating, but it comes as a package deal. HSPs know and experience this too often at times, when they are processing everything so thoroughly and at periods with no downtime, they end up reaching their threshold for stimuli much quicker than non-HSPs. And they end up being worn out both mentally and physically. The symptoms of overstimulation can manifest in a variety of ways, from depression, anxiety, fatigue and burnout to digestive issues and low self-esteem. This is not the HSP's natural state, or who they are as a person. This is a manifestation state of an over-aroused nervous system, which needs some recovery time to go back into its balanced state. The next trait is emotionally responsive and empathy. Research shows that HSPs have much more active mirror neurons, which contributes to having greater empathy and a need to respond to that person or situation. It doesn't matter if it's a stranger or a loved one, the empathy is always the same. They feel a lot more, and can easily tune into people, and can put themselves in the place of others quite easily, thanks to this strong mirroring system. HSPs have a strong emotional response to both negative and positive experiences. They could be having high moments of bliss, and then all of a sudden come crashing down on hearing anything negative. This is due to their highly reactive nature. They respond more accordingly to what is happening around them. Also, researchers states that processing things deeply is driven by emotions, therefore depth of processing becomes a more emotional reactivity. For example, upon hearing a criticism, a HSP will react by deeply processing it and finding out if it is true, and then responding by correcting their behavior. This is driven by caring more about doing things right. No doubt, it does work the other way too. Processing something more deeply leads to stronger feelings about it. Researchers have placed emotion at the center of thinking and wisdom, and HSPs are very good at thinking. We come to the last trait, which is sensitive to subtle stimuli. This aspect is when the HSP notices everything in their environment, which usually others miss. It could be the smallest subtle non-verbal cues. For example, whilst talking you notice those micro changes in a person's facial expression, or changes in one's tone of voice, the atmosphere and energy of a room, the subtle body language of others. It's as though HSPs communicate more on an energy level. They also notice and can be bothered by small distractions in the background, like the slight ticking of a clock, chewing noises, phone alerts, water dripping sounds from the tap, or even subtle changes in lighting in a room. HSPs are also more aware of the slight changes in their bodily sensations. Could be that little bit of discomfort they are experiencing, could be a rough texture touching their skin, or certain smells and tastes, labels on clothing. It could be anything that majority of the people don't really pay attention to. We have covered the 4 aspects in terms of does. This should give you some idea of what highly sensitivity is. This is a real trait and there is scientific research to back this up. According to Dr. Aron, she says that a person without some sign of all 4 of these is probably not highly sensitive, at least as I have defined it. If you do believe you are a HSP, as difficult as it may be at times to have these traits, it can also be your superpower. It's just the case of unlocking this superpower, and you do have that key. Please do like, share and subscribe to this channel, where we will talk more about this unique trait. If you have any questions about this video or anything else, please leave a comment below. Thank you for watching.